How's it going, everyone? It is Scruffy back with some more Mortal Kombat 1 content for you, and in today's video we will be discussing all the Easter eggs and potential story plot lines that have been unveiled from the character intros that we have seen from the Mortal Kombat 1 early access gameplay. Before we get started with today's videos, I would like to add the disclaimer that every plot point discussed in this video is speculation by my part, from information that I have gathered by watching the character intros. Furthermore, it should be noted that historically, the character intros have not always been canon, whereas some of the intros between, or the dialogue between the two characters more so, have actually been confirmed as canon, whereas others are just neat dialogue between the two. So, without any further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so if you guys have been paying attention to social media since the Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay trailer reveal at the Summer Game Awards last week, you would know that a lot of content creators, present self-excluded unfortunately, got special early access to play Mortal Kombat 1 to build up hype for the future gameplay. Now, in this gameplay early access, only 4 characters were able to be played, that being Sub-Zero, Kenshi, Liu Kang, and Kitana. So with these 4 characters, we don't really get to see a whole lot of character intro interactions, and they have actually changed a bit from the last 2 Mortal Kombat ones. In the previous 2 installments of Mortal Kombat, we got a lot of information from these character intros, including interactions the characters might have had off-screen or deeds they might have done, such as Dvorak confessing to Kitana that she was the one responsible for killing King Jared. Although this is not confirmed canon, considering in Mortal Kombat 11, half the roster is confirmed as killing King Jared, we're going to take this with a grain of salt. However, we can learn a lot from these character interactions. So the first thing we're going to discuss with these character interactions are the different story plot points we might have uncovered from this early access. The first ones being between Sub-Zero and literally every character possible in this early access that he comes across. Start off with, we have interactions between Liu Kang and Sub-Zero, where Liu Kang, first of all, confirms that this Sub-Zero is in fact Bihan, in this specific line.
Your actions cost lives, Bihan. They were in the Lin Kuei's best interests.
And in another interaction between Kitana and Sub-Zero, we hear Kitana accuse Sub-Zero of only looking out for the Lin Kuei's best interests, basically saying your plan was a lot more honorable when you looked out for the good of others, and Sub-Zero retorting that the Lin Kuei are better off now that they serve their own interests. Furthermore, you see Kenshi and Sub-Zero have an interaction where Sub-Zero basically blackmails Kenshi with some secret information that we'll probably learn, or hopefully learn, during the story mode. Add these dialogue interactions between Sub-Zero and the other characters to Sub-Zero's demeanor in the story reveal that we got with the gameplay trailer, where he's unnecessarily aggressive with Kung Lao when he and Scorpion were there to test their abilities, not really get into any meaningful aggressive beef per se. And then when Liu Kang or Lord Liu Kang show up and Scorpion bows his head in respect, but Sub-Zero just kinda stares there. Now, what we learned from all these interactions between Sub-Zero in the intro dialogue and the gameplay reveal, it would appear as though Sub-Zero is actually a bad guy in this storyline. Initially off the trailer and reveal, it looks like Sub-Zero is fighting on the side of good. He's fighting for Lord Liu Kang for the sake of the peaceful timeline and Earthrealm, but based on character interactions, it seems like he betrays a lot of people. So I would not be surprised if in the Mortal Kombat 1 story, we actually see Sub-Zero turn on his brothers, turn on his Earthrealm and his clan, and become a vessel of evil. This could actually add a neat dynamic where in the original timeline, Quan Chi actually pretends to be Sub-Zero, kills Scorpion's clan, Scorpion comes back, kills Sub-Zero, the Bihan Sub-Zero, and then Bihan is resurrected as Noob Saibot and is evil from there on. And that is really the start of the war between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, the Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu. Whereas in this new timeline, Ed Boon has already confirmed that Scorpion and Sub-Zero are brothers, and a more likely scenario that we will see play out is that Sub-Zero betrays his clan, betrays his family, and betrays everybody, and that's why Scorpion comes to hate Sub-Zero. So I do see that even though they start off as brothers, that there will be a war between the two. They will still become mortal enemies and hate each other, but rather than it being one killing the other, it's that the brother betrayed him, and there's nothing worse than the brother you love betraying you. The next story plot point we're going to talk about from the intros is the relationship between Melina and Kitana, as well as their role in the overall story arc of the game. So what we're seeing in the intro interactions between Melina and Kitana that we saw in the reveal trailer, as well as between Sub-Zero and Kitana in the gameplay, the early access gameplay, is it seems that Kitana is actually Melina's younger sister. Whereas in the original timeline and the rebooted timeline starting with MK1, Melina is actually the younger clone of Kitana. So in both those timelines, Shang Tsung had worked with Shao Kahn to clone Kitana, mix her DNA with some Tarkatan DNA, and create a better heir for Shao Kahn versus Kitana, who's a little bit more empathetic. Now, in the first interaction I discussed between Kitana and Melina, they have this little spat where Kitana says, "I just want to help you and do it right by you," and Melina says, "Or do you secretly look to take over my throne?" Now, there's a few different paths one can take, and we'll discuss them both real quick after this, but the second interaction, which gives more of a clue to their relationship, is in the Sub-Zero Kitana intro dialogue, where Sub-Zero says, "It must be tough living in your sister's shadow," and Kitana responds by saying, "I look to serve her." So the first possibility here is Melina is the older sister of Kitana. We already know that Melina has some sort of degenerative disease or genetic disease that's causing her mouth. At least that's what we're led to believe right away. She could still be secretly a clone without either of them knowing, but we're going to go with these other routes. So in the first one, Melina's older and is actually the rightful heir. In one of the background stages that you saw in the trailer, you actually see Sindel sitting on a throne in the back with Melina right to her side. So it's possible that Melina, being the eldest, is the next in line to receive the throne. Now, if this is Outworld or Ardenia, not quite known yet. Either way, the point is that Melina is next in line, and Kitana actually serves her, her being older. And we can see this in the two intro dialogues of "You want to steal my throne" and "You live in her shadow." The other possibility is they are twins, and they both share the throne together. Now, this is the least likely of the two scenarios in my mind, because even as twins, I still think they would share the throne, and in this it sounds like Kitana is serving her sister. So that one's kind of not as possible. It's still quite a possibility, because who knows, maybe they are twin sisters, both the same age, but Melina's a little bit more responsible and just a better leader. That's what we could be seeing. So that's all we really have for story plot lines from right now. There are a few other intros that kind of hint at some more storylines, but they're a little bit too vague to really get into depth right now in this video, so we'll wait on those until maybe more intros are released, or as gameplay goes on, or as maybe more of the story is revealed to us. For now, we'd like to move on to some of the Easter eggs that we learned from these intro dialogues. The first one being a callback to an earlier Mortal Kombat game, that being Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero. In the intro dialogue interaction between Sub-Zero and Liu Kang, you hear Liu Kang say, "You will not get access to the Temple of the Elements," and Sub-Zero saying, "What are you hiding in there?" This is an obvious callback to Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero, where the entire plot of that game is Sub-Zero, the Bihan Sub-Zero, breaks in the Temple of Elements to steal Shinnok's amulet. At the time, he did not know it was Shinnok's amulet, but in the game, after you beat the 4 elemental gods, the only one of which has been given a name and lore, that being Fujin, Quan Chi betrays Sub-Zero, reveals it's Shinnok's amulet, steals it from him, and then begins the story of Mortal Kombat 4. So Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero is actually a prequel to the Mortal Kombat 4 game. And that is obviously what they are talking about in this interaction dialogue. It's not the sneakiest of Easter eggs, but it is one nonetheless, and has actually been called on a few times in Mortal Kombat 11 in character intro dialogues between Collector and Noob Saibot, as well as in the Aftermath story when Fujin fights Noob Saibot on Shang Tsung's island. Now, the next Easter egg, which is kind of really cool, is you have the Liu Kang versus Liu Kang intro dialogue. And in this, the one Liu Kang asks what happened to your katana, and the other one saying a sick clown tricked me into killing her. And that sick clown can be none other than Joker. Now, when exactly this happened, I don't know, but it's obviously a callback to Joker, who was a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 11, as well as a playable character in Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. Now, if this is confirming either of those events are canon, I don't know, but it's a cool callback to a past character that was in the game, and a character who was a guest DLC nonetheless. And the last Easter egg we're going to talk about is the interaction between Kenshi and Kenshi, and in my mind this is the coolest Easter egg ever and might be one of the most difficult ones to pick up on. In the interaction between Kenshi and himself, you hear the first one say, if a man comes up to you and introduces himself as Song, kill him right away. And this is an obvious callback to Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, which in my mind is the best Mortal Kombat movie ever to be released. If you haven't seen this one, I highly recommend going and watching it as soon as possible. You will not be sorry for it. But in the plot, this movie follows the plot of a young Kenshi who, before he has any of his powers, is just proving himself to be the best fighter in all of the realm. And he gets beat up badly by Tremor, and so he follows a man who introduced himself as Song, who helps him find Sento, his sacred sword. It is later revealed that Song is actually Shang Tsung, who tricks Kenshi into bringing him to the Well of Souls, and is the reason why Kenshi becomes blind when Shang Tsung blinds him and then apparently kills him by throwing him down the well. That's where Kenshi finds Sento. So that is just a really cool callback, or really cool Easter egg to my favorite Mortal Kombat movie of all time. That's all we really have for story plotlines and Easter eggs. Let me know what you guys thought of the story plotline, and if you knew about these Easter eggs or not. Also, let me know if there's any that I might have missed that I might not have seen, and make sure to comment those below. That's all we really have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.